All right, everybody, we're live. We're live. Just going to do a mic check here real quick. One sec. Here we're all good to go. Testing, testing. Mic check, mic check. All right, everybody. Looks like we are live, ready to go for this London session. Excited about it. It's a beautiful, cloudy, 34-degree day here in Sweden. So don't come here if you enjoy life and you want to enjoy some sunshine. All right, now that we got that special services announcement out of the way, let's go ahead and see what we've got in store here for London. We've got the 4-hour chart here on the left and the hourly chart here on the right. And we are, of course, trading 1.55 million in funded accounts right now between Top Step and UProfit. So that's fantastic. I've got my Top Step account open here on Quant Tower right over here. And then I've got my UProfit accounts on my Rhythmic DOM on my other screen. And we got a bunch of stuff going on. So that's very exciting. Let's go ahead and quickly talk about what we expect for the day. So right now we're looking at ES and, you know, kind of a choppy day yesterday, but it did consolidate above those highs from the Fed meeting on Wednesday. So we should have a lot of support right down in here at about 52.92 is what I'm looking at here for ES. So that's kind of the level we're going to keep an eye on. Really anything down into this level. So I'll be looking for some sort of an exhaust down into that level to potentially get long for a retest of the highs. So that's what we're going to be looking for ES today. It'll be similar for NQ. Reason for that is here you can see on the daily chart. This is the ES daily chart. You can see we're trending up very, very powerfully here on the daily. On the weekly, you can see we're just clearing all this resistance, pushing up. Anything can happen today, we'll see, but oftentimes when you get all these extensions up here, you see these pink dots. When these are all up here, oftentimes price will want to get up there and test. So you could see a big exhaust today. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is in the cards. We'll see. If that's going to happen there with the weekly, then the daily chart here would need to pick up support down here like this and then fire up like that. That is possible. We'll just have to wait and see. We don't have any major news catalysts for the day, so maybe that'll dampen things. Don't know. That's the beauty of trading. Anyways, the first area where I'm remotely interested in taking a shot is down in here around 52.92. You can see we've got the daily indicators overlaid here on the 4-hourly chart and the hourly chart. So that's ES. Let's go ahead and flop on over to NQ. My number one pick from last night when I do the check at the daily close at 5 p.m. Eastern, it was silver to go short, and that is working out nicely. My order didn't get filled. I had an order up at 25.20. We made a high of like 25.02. And my order to go short had to be up there because of where the stop placement had to be. So I will be keeping a close eye on silver today to see if we can set up a good short opportunity. Gold and silver under a lot of pressure with the strong dollar. Let's go ahead and look at the Dow here in a sec. Here's the NASDAQ. So similar for the NASDAQ, guys, we're looking anything down here into 18.5. So any kind of a hourly exhaust down there might be a buying opportunity. We'll keep an eye on that. The Dow and the Russell, you can keep an eye on that as well. Not my favorite ones to trade, but with my UProfit funded accounts, I have to actually trade different markets. They don't want me trading, you know, I can't trade all 800,000 of funding on my UProfit currently. I can't trade that on, say, NASDAQ. They want me to, you know, split that up and trade 200,000 of funding on NASDAQ, 200,000 on, you know, whatever, ES, 200,000 on bonds. So That's the way I've got to do that. Top Step doesn't really care. So here is the Dow. See what happens. The Dow looks like it's going to be a bit more choppy today because it looks a little bit more overextended from the push up yesterday. So keep an eye on that. Let's go ahead and look at the Russell. Small caps. And you can see here with the Russell. Also wouldn't surprise me to see, maybe some profit taking. Markets it's challenging to read when we just keep melting up and you just don't know if and when or where it's going to stop. It can make it a little bit difficult. So I always find, new all-time highs are, I think, quite difficult to trade, especially in this environment. I mean, obviously, previously, when you've got super loose Fed policy, 0% interest rates, all-time highs are expected, and then it's very, very easy to assume that price is going to go higher and higher. But now we're kind of in a different environment, so I think we're going higher, but remains to be seen. All right, so that's the Russell. Let's look at the 10-year Treasury. By the way, I've got silver up on the DOM because that's the one I'm kind of eyeing for a short today if I get a bounce. So the 10-year looks like it's going to try and push higher actually today. So to keep an eye on it. I'm not against buying bonds today if we get some kind of a decent pullback. If I do buy bonds, it'll be on the ultra bond since it moves much better. Get the 30-year here. So the 30-year, yeah, they're not really that clear right now, the bonds. So I kind of expect a choppy day with some support on the 30-year down here around 119. Look at the ultra bond. And guys, the number one thing about trading is you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, when not to trade. I've been very active in, getting my funded accounts the last few weeks, but in terms of actually trading my funded accounts, I'm being very selective because there's not a lot to choose from right now. You've got to be selective. Want to last in this game. All right, here's the ultra bond. Yeah, just going to wait for that to develop. Let's look at gold and silver. I think they're going to be the most under pressure today with the strong dollar. So here you can see, I wouldn't be surprised to see gold. Let's look at the daily chart here for gold. I mean, that's a pretty big reversal right there on gold. And I wouldn't be surprised to see us want to head down and test, these lows by the end of the day. 2150. I'm open to shorting bounces on gold. You can see the weekly. I think the weekly chart here is going to try and test down into the middle of the moving average envelope somewhere down in here. I think gold should be under pressure today. It's kind of one of the more clear markets for us to trade. So here's gold. And looking at gold, the hourly and the 4-hourly are trending down as expected. I expect resistance to be strong up in here. So any kind of a pullback up into that 2180, 85 level, anywhere up there, even up here, 2190 to the true average, there's a lot of resistance up here. So I wouldn't mind going short gold on some kind of a pullback. So that will be something that we keep an eye on. And the reason I've switched to the hourly and the 4-hourly is just because I'm trading so many funded accounts right now that I just don't have time to jump back and forth on 15-minute trades. And to be honest, it's the types of moves that I'm looking for are, hourly and 4-hourly moves. I'm not really looking for, a 15-minute scalp. That's why I've got the hourly as the lower time frame to confirm the 4-hourly higher time frame. Anyway, so we're 3:42 a.m. Eastern, so we're going to get our next hourly check in about 18 minutes here. And we'll see if gold pulls back and gives us a short. Let's look at silver. Silver was my top pick, as I mentioned last night, to short. Set an order, but I didn't get filled. reason I like to short silver here, here's the daily chart. I mean, that is just a massive reversal coming out. So here's the Fed here, right? Popped up. You know, just kidding. Here's the reversal, slam back down. The key here is big volume, right? So it's a lot of trap traders here. That's why I'm looking to get short up into the dot zone and the broken near low right there, 25.20. So, you know, I had to make a decision last night at the open. Do I want to short right here at market? I made the decision not to because my stop needed to be back behind all this resistance anyways, and I didn't want to risk, you know, 40 cents on silver. So, you know, it's a big contract. So, silver, we're waiting for a pullback. Oh, you just never wake up here with Swedish weather. It's incredible. All right. So, any kind of a bounce. Hopefully we get a little bit of a push up, suck in some eager longs, suck in some new longs. Also, some longs who realize they're offsides will have to bail if we get a bounce, and then some new shorts will step in. So, feel really good about shorting silver today if we can get a bounce, but I'm not chasing it. Copper and platinum, I wasn't really interested in these based on the daily and weekly price structure. The overnight check. Copper's heading lower as expected. The industrial metals are heading lower as we've been talking about. I've been expecting that, and that is what we're seeing now. I do expect copper to be under pressure the rest of the day. You know, I'm open to shorting a bounce in any of these metals actually, but I would prefer silver as my number one choice. Here's platinum. Platinum's also got a lot of resistance up into 910. So we got to push up here potentially. The only problem with shorting platinum here is you're already in weekly support. That's what I don't like about it. Whereas silver seems like it has room to go to the downside, and so does gold. Not that platinum won't, but it's already kind of made a big move. I think silver could be the good catch-up trade down to platinum. I'm eager to trade silver. Let's look at crude oil. All right, so crude oil here looks to me like it's going to be under pressure today. We're coming out of strong weekly resistance. The daily looks like it's got a bit of a bearish pattern for today. So we'll see what happens, but I would be careful being long crude. All right. So here's the crude oil hourly chart. Nothing I see right now that's pressing. Let's go ahead and look at the Euro futures. So the pick of the day for today is going to definitely be waiting for a pullback to short the industrial metals. You can take your pick: silver, copper, platinum. Those are going to be the weakest based on the price structure. We've got a strong dollar. I think indices will continue to be choppy. So be careful there. If we start to really squeeze on the indices, fine. But otherwise, I think the lowest hanging fruit for the day is going to be to short the industrial metals. But again, what the hell do I know? I've only got 1.55 million in funding. So, you know, take what I say with a grain of salt. All right. That was a joke, by the way. Okay. We got to have a little bit of fun here and be a little bit funny. So looking at the Euro futures, you can see the dollar's just continuing to be on a tear. This is why I think, see the price pattern here for the Euro futures. Here's your daily chart. There's your pop on the back of FOMC. You know, hey, Euro's getting stronger, dollar's getting weaker. Just kidding. Here's the reversal, and now the dollar's just on a tear. And this makes sense, you know, given the background, what we're seeing in the European economy. Believe me, I'm in Europe. These guys do not have their act together. Just kidding. But their economy is a lot weaker. But you can see the price structure if we look at silver, for example. So look, put this in your mind's eye. This is the daily chart for the euro against the dollar, right? Futures. Now, let's look at silver here, if I load it, it's the same thing. Now you'll see with silver, it's following, right? You see how you have the same exact pattern. This is the silver chart. I just changed it. You're looking at this going, wait, this looks like the euro chart. Yeah, because the dollar now is getting stronger. That's weighing on the industrial metals. And the best part about silver is all the traders who are off sides right now, which is why I had an order to short at 25.20 overnight that didn't get filled. So now I want to wait to see if the hourly at some point today gives us a pop that we can short into. And the same for gold and copper, but silver is the one I like the best because it's a big contract and I can put on quite a few contracts across my different funded accounts. So you can see here with silver on the 4-hour chart, we're trending down really nicely. So any kind of a pop up into resistance here, I mean, the higher the better. Here's the hourly chart. So if the hourly chart can give us one of these counter trend pops, that'd be a great spot to short into. There'll be a lot of longs up here who realize they're off sides. They're going to have to bail on their positions on any kind of a pop. You'll see fresh shorts entering the market. And then you'll also see new eager longs entering, thinking it's going higher. Hopefully they'll be on the wrong side as well. And then as it starts to drop, they'll bail and it'll accelerate the move to the downside. So I think we've got a really good setup, not just on the charts for shorting silver, but also, you know, just when you think about the traders who are trapped here. I mean, think about all the silver traders who got so excited about that move higher and then just bang. I mean, this goes, if you go back to the end of November, you'll see a very similar, I can show you on the monthly chart actually here. So looking at the monthly chart, this is the monthly silver chart, right? Did you see back here? You see this channel we're in? I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Look at this. This is last June, July. I mean, this is even going back further. Guys, look at this. This is the monthly silver, right? Okay, we're breaking out. No, just kidding. We're not really breaking out. Oh, no. No. So this is why I've been bearish silver, because we're running into, not only with Owings market analysis, we've got the extension right up in there, right? We're in congestion by my rules, meaning we're cycling from one side of the envelope to the other. The envelope's the green. So now we cycle from down here back to up here, and now we're up here. What should we do? Oh yeah, cycle back down here. There you go, right? So you've got a lot of resistance right up in here, and then you just happen to have, you know, this very obvious downward sloping channel right here, right? So when I look at all this on the monthly chart for silver, that's why I've been so bearish silver. Everybody's like, no, Andy, you're wrong. Silver's going to the moon. And look, I'm wrong plenty, but all I do is look at the charts and try to trade what's in front of me using my methodology, which works. So here you can see the weekly chart. This is the weekly silver, and that's the reason that I was so confident in that resistance up here on the monthly. Just imagine all that monthly resistance coming across right here, right? So as we were pushing higher, you knew that there was all that monthly resistance pushing down. And so now the weekly should be on its way back down here, at least. I mean, really over the course of the next month or so, we should be on our way back down to these lows, right? So that would be the start then of the weekly rolling over here, entering congestion down. And then you're going to see, you know, some follow through weeks like this. As all those longs realize they're offside, the weekly is going to probably head back down, because that's the only way that we're going to get from this side of the monthly down to this side of the monthly, right? Is if the weekly trend reverses to the downside. That's why I've got my trend reversal playbook in play here on the weekly. It means what? It means that the daily here is we're in congestion. You see, technically we're in congestion by our rules. You've got resistance, you got support, right? See, you got, this is your congestion zone, right? And now I've got my congestion exit down playbook on the daily, because I expect the weekly to trend reverse to the downside. So the only way that's going to happen is if the daily exits congestion down through support, right? Through its congestion support level right here in blue. And we can see that's what's happening. So all of that informs why I wanted to go short last night at 25.20. Now it didn't get filled, but oftentimes it'll sneak up there, sniff that out, and then collapse like this. And then you're in on a nice, you know, 50, 60 cent profit silver trade. And, you know, when you're looking at every 10 cents on silver per contract is $500, right? It's because every dollar is $5,000 per contract, right? So on my funded accounts, if I throw 3 contracts on one of my top step, maybe 3 contracts on another top step, maybe 3 contracts on one of my U-Profit, you know, suddenly I'm short 9 silver contracts. You know, that thing moves $1 in my favor. That's $45,000 in profit. So you see why it makes sense to wait for the best trades and then just load up? That's what I like to do. But, you know, everybody's out there right now scalping, and it's very exciting. And I think people need to realize, and it usually only comes after their, you know, 3rd or 4th journey of just, they think you're going to get more money by scalping and, you know, getting a quick buck. It takes a long time to realize that that's just not the way to earn big money with trading. The best way is to wait for prime setups, be patient, and then just hammer them when they come. I learned that from my mentor. Very, very good at that. Why he made so much money. All right. But he's very old now. He's like 90. How old is he? 92, maybe. So that's why I like silver today. Those are the trades that I'm trying to, you know, wait for. Those are the trades that I do wait for. That's why, even though it took me, you know, 3 weeks, a little over 3, maybe a little under a month, about a month, to get this first 1.55 million in funded accounts. You know, I raced through those challenges because I'm very aggressive, and yeah, I blow a lot of them out. I reset, sure, but overall, my access to capital is very, very cheap, which is why I do it, right? Because I pass a lot of them, and then I get, you know, decent sized accounts for relatively small amounts of money, which is better than trading my own money. So, but then once I have the funded accounts, right, I'm still very, very aggressive in my trading. So right now, across all my funded accounts, one of my top step accounts is up $3,000 about from a trade that I put on March 5th. No, was it March 1st, I think, guys. I literally think my last trade on that account was March 1st, like 3 weeks ago, because that was the last really good trade that I saw. So I put on a trade, I made $3,000, and that account's been sitting there, right? One of my other U-Profit accounts, I posted a video about this on the channel. I'm up $3,000 on that account, and that's because after the Fed announcement on Wednesday, I could see that the market was just grinding. Powell was super dovish, so we were grinding higher. So I deemed that to be a good chance to step in and, you know, take some longs. And I made, I don't know what I made. I made $3,000, but in terms of points, maybe I made, I don't know, 50, 60 points on the NASDAQ with 3 contracts or something like that. And then I also made 600 on silver earlier that day. But my point with all this is that, you know, don't let your trading account burn a hole in your pocket and think you have to trade every day. You don't. You can be much better served by waiting for high quality setups. When people trade, they lose track of the fact that trading, you know, it's very rewarding. You can make a lot of money, but it's also very easy to, you know, lose sight of the real value of a dollar, right? Like if you wait for a really good trade and you make $5,000 on that trade, right? You're getting paid for your patience to wait for that trade that's going to pay you out like that, right? Whereas somebody else has to work, you know, a 9 to 5 all month long, you know, wake up, you know, set the alarm, you know, get ready for work, get in the car, go sit in traffic, you know, just deal with colleagues, deal with customers or whatever they're doing. They got to do all that every day for a month to make the same amount of money you can make in one trade by just fucking being patient, you know? So it's really not that difficult. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have winning trades all the time, right? You're still going to have losing trades, but at least you're patient. And if you follow your plan, you know, like when I'm patient, I know that if I'm taking the right trades, they should work 60, 65% of the time, right? So if I start to see my win rate drop, if all of a sudden I take 5 losses in a row, you know, which doesn't happen very often, if ever, not lately anyways, obviously early in my career it did, but that tells me that I'm over trading, right? Because my win rate should be 60, 65%. I make about 2-3 to 1 of my winners. That's great, right? So the point with all this is just to be patient. So there's my diatribe. I think the technical definition for a diatribe is monologue, but I'd have to look that up. It's been a while since I used that word. I like to use funny words and have fun. Okay, so we've essentially laid down the plot for today. We know exactly what we're looking for. We know the markets we want to trade, right? We know why we're here, to be patient and wait for the good setups. We're not like monkeys in a circus, you know, sitting here just scalping, jumping in and out. You know, we're not doing that. So to recap, what you can see here on the indices, this is the scoreboard here. You've got the indices at the top here, right? So what do we say about the indices today? I do think there's a possibility we can melt up. I'm kind of interested in support, you know, ES down into 5290, I think I said. NASDAQ 18,500. Those would be the levels where if it comes down to those levels and I see some support, maybe I'll entertain a long. I don't know if I'll entertain a long there on my funded accounts, but I've got a couple more top steps that are close to passing that I could throw on the indices. But in terms of my funded account, the one that I really want to hit is silver from the short side. But it needs to pop up to 25.20 right here. You can see that is, see here on the daily, you guys. Here's the daily chart. You see the dot zone here. Boom, coming across, especially right there, the true average, which is that sort of beige looking dot. So that is overlaid onto my hourly and my 4-hour charts. You can see that's right here. This is the daily dot here overlaid, right? It's coming across. So this is our resistance zone right there, right? I would want to see silver get into some sort of a little counter trend rally up here. You know, everybody thinks we're going back to the moon. That's when I want to short for the move back down like this. Now, is that going to happen? I have no idea, but that's what I'm waiting for because that's my game plan, because that's where the trade makes the most sense from a risk reward perspective for me. That's where the trade also has the highest probability of success based on my methodology, right? Again, is it right every time? No. When you wait for the right trades, it's right 60% of the time. I shouldn't even say right. It's not about being right or wrong. It's probabilities, but you know what I mean. So that's what we're looking for. All right, we're coming upon 4 a.m. Eastern here in 1 second. Boom, there it is. You can see we got a new hourly bar. You see, so the hourly, you know, it's trending down here. You say, oh, well, why don't we just short, Andy? No, because I'm waiting for my level. Well, what if it goes without us? Like, yeah, that's another thing too, you guys. Who cares? Let the market do whatever it's going to do. Don't have FOMO. When you get FOMO, you start to make mistakes. I trade like an idiot. And, you know, trading idiots don't make a lot of money, so don't be one. And that means don't have FOMO. All right, let's look at, let's just cycle through all the charts here for the hourly. My game plan for today, guys, is to sit here and trade with you. The London market, you know, I started at about 3:30. Normally I'll try and start at 3 a.m. a little before because I like to see, there's sometimes some really good trades right at the Frankfurt London Open, right at that 3 a.m. Eastern marker. So that's really what I like to be ready for. And then just see what London, sometimes London will give us some good setup. Sometimes the New York moves will start during London. And you got to be there to get ready and jump on the wagon. So I'll stream for a couple hours during London and then go to the gym and then come back and start streaming New York. You know, on a day where we've got some news and, you know, maybe the potential for gold or silver or bonds to move, I'll start at 8 a.m. Eastern. Otherwise, I start at 9:30 when the stock market opens. But like today, for example, it's not looking like I'm going to get my silver short here in London, which is the one I really want. So I'll probably come back and start streaming at 8 a.m. Eastern to see if perhaps silver has rallied and setting up the short for the, you know, New York Open at 8 a.m. because silver, gold, and bonds really get going in New York at about 8 a.m. But you got to be ready to catch those pre-market in terms of stock market time. All right, so I think we've sort of, you know, laid the foundation for the upcoming day. And that's what you got to do every day, guys. You got to lay the foundation. You got to come to the screen. You got to do the analysis. You have to know what you expect for the day, get your plan together, and then execute your plan. Where you're going to lose a lot of money is, number one, not having a system or a methodology with an edge. Number two, not having a plan. And then number three, You're not able to trade your plan, of course, because you don't have one, right? How are you going to trade a plan if you don't have a plan? And then if you don't have a plan and then you're not trading your plan, then the next step is how are you going to review? How are you going to know what's working and what's not working if you don't have a plan and you're not tracking it, right? These are all the pesky details that nobody ever wants to really pay that much attention to, but these are the ones that will make you money. All right, so here's ES. We'll see what this does. Not interested in it at this level at all. We already know bonds, not interested in right now. Gold and silver, we know we're waiting for a pop. Silver up into 25.20. Really anything above 25 for silver, but 25.20 would be ideal. Gold, looking for a pop up to 21.80, 21.90, something like that. Copper and platinum, it's good. Industrial metals, I'm open to shorting them, but they're still a little bit. I think silver is the #1 short for me today on that list. Probably followed by maybe copper, and then gold, then platinum. I mean, I think they're all going to drop. It's just that platinum's in weekly support right now, so I think silver has a good chance to catch down. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the dollar, because that's going to be the main driver here, obviously, for our silver short. Yeah, the dollar's just on a tear right now, just ripping the Europeans a new one. Yeah, beautiful. All right, I guess we can take a quick look at Bitcoin for the Miami Bitcoin bros and the Dubai Bitcoin bros. They love it. Gotta love the Bitcoins and the Bugattis. They love things that start with B because they're Bitcoin bros with Bugattis. In Dubai. Not really a B there, but still you get the point. All right, so here is Bitcoin. I've already done a pretty comprehensive analysis on Bitcoin. You guys got to be very, very careful being long up here right now. I'm not saying for the long term, I'm saying for right now, right? So if I bring over our yearly Bitcoin chart, let's take a look at the yearly Bitcoin chart, you guys. Now you've got the daily chart here. This is silver. I'm switching to Bitcoin. This is the weekly chart. And I got the monthly, the quarterly, the yearly on my other charts. You guys, look at the yearly Bitcoin chart here. This is a yearly, these are yearly bars. You see how we just jumped up and tagged that extension right there, right at that old high. I mean, that's a lot of resistance, but not only that, look at the quarterly right here. You got the combination extension, high connector. I mean, we're going to have to see where this thing settles at the end of March, right? Because that's in about a week, and that'll be the end of this quarterly bar. If this finishes weak, I mean, you still have a lot of support here at 50,000. So I don't think Bitcoin's gonna collapse or anything, but you could get a pullback. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. Let's quickly go to let's just look at the agriculturals just for fun. Let's look at corn. We're gonna start getting into planting season here soon, so we'll get more active with the ags. But generally speaking, I don't trade them on the funded accounts because they're small contract sizes, and obviously I want to max out my contract size. So you got to build some profit in the funded accounts first before you can start going bigger contract. So corn's got a pretty nice resistance pattern today on the daily chart. Wouldn't be surprised to see corn stay under pressure. You see, everything's correlated as well, right? So why is corn dropping today? Why are the industrial metals dropping? It's because the dollar is on a freaking tear right now, right? Then if I look at all that and I go, okay, where can I get the most bang for my buck in terms of the number of contracts I'm allowed to short on my funded accounts? That's silver. That's why I want to short silver. It also has the best price structure for me today. But that's, for example, that's why I wouldn't tie up contracts. Let's say, even though I think corn's going to be under pressure, I'm not going to expend the mental energy to follow it today, or tie up some of my funded contracts on corn, which is only $50 per point, right? So imagine, guys, on corn, $50 a point. I mean, let's just say this is the 4-hour chart, right? Let's say I would get short corn at 441, 440, let's say 442, and then write it down to, you know, 436, right? Like, oh my God, that's great. It looks like a big move, right? Well, that's only 6 points, right? So that's only $300 per contract. But for all that work on 3 contracts, I make $900, right? And then let's say I do that across 3 accounts, so that's $2,700. What do we say on silver? You know, I could go 9 contracts, make $1 on silver. All of a sudden, that's $45,000. So I don't know, maybe it's me, but I like the math better on that silver trade, which is why I will take it as opposed to a market like corn. I'm not against trading corn, obviously. I'm just explaining why on the funded accounts it doesn't make sense. So you want to trade the bigger contracts. All right. So I think, you know, that pretty much sums it up, you guys. It's 4:08 a.m. Eastern. That's going to be the London report for you. And you know what I'm looking for the rest of the day. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to stand here and preach all day. I think I've given you guys a lot of good things to think about, and I hope you take it to heart and have it help your trading. And I will be back most likely for the US Open at 8 a.m. And I think I'm going to live stream today. I'm kind of in the mood. So we will continue to follow our game plan here from the London session and wait for some sort of pop in the industrial metals, especially silver, to see if we can't get short. And then we'll keep an eye on the indices as well. They might set up a long, we'll see. And then, of course, we're going to keep a very close eye on the dollar today. It looks like it's going to continue to be strong, which should weigh and should really support our thesis for any type of a short on the industrial metals, especially silver. So there you have it, my friends. Let's grow the stream, because this is, you know, I think, in my opinion, one of the streams out there where you get the real deal with trading. And a lot of stuff I'm seeing out there, a lot of nice guys, but yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of scalping and, I don't know, a lot of bad habits. So I'd like to help those few who actually want to try and, you know, make money from this consistently. I think you can do that by learning OMA and also paying very, you know, close attention to the psychological things that we talk about here, patience, you know, quality of trades, all that kind of good stuff. All right, so good luck. I will be back in a few hours. I'm going to go to the gym and basically have a nice sauna and ice bath, because the weather here is horrendous. And I'm going to go have a little fun. All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.